Here we go. Welcome back to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. This week in wrestling returns, and as you can see by the man waving, I'm going to do my usual introduction to him. So he is a pro wrestling referee who's currently on hiatus, but did make an impromptu return this past weekend. He is also a counsellor in Hunstanton, and he is also very busy right now because he is currently doing a Nerdic Pro podcast, 250th consecutive week of the Nerdic Pro Weekly. He is Bobby F.N. Salazar. Welcome back, sir.
Where I found the time to do anything, I will never know. I've got meetings all day tomorrow, meetings all day Wednesday, podcasts to do, editing to do. It's literally not 10 minutes ago finished a podcast with Graham Matthews from Bleacher Report. And yeah, obviously made a return to the ring on Saturday for DOA in Great Yarmouth. And yeah, and obviously I'm here tonight with you. So happy days, wrestling. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Wrestling indeed. Well, first things first, congratulations on the Nerdic Pro 250th consecutive week of the Nerdic Pro Weekly. Congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
That's a very good feat.
When are you going to be coming on for that?
You need to sort it out with me. We need to work on the dates, but I will be on it.
100%.
I will be there. Don't worry. Right. So the week in wrestling. Well, let's just get it on with probably the biggest debut of last week in wrestling, happening in NXT. Bloodline member 7,896 debuted, that being Zilla Fatu. It was talked about for some time. But Bobby, were you surprised that he didn't go straight to the main roster?
I was, to be fair. As you know, that seemed to be the thing with the Gorillas of Destiny. That seemed to be the thing with Hikuleo. That seemed to be the thing with Haku. You know, like they all had something to do with the bloodline, like when they all came up. And obviously, Zilla Fatu is the son of the late great Umaga. For those of you that didn't know, that's like Umaga's his dad. And yeah, I personally, I was surprised. In all fairness. But realistically, that Solo Sikoa as well didn't to begin with, sort of. He sort of came into it through Clash at the Castle, which I saw in person. And yeah, so, you know, but I think now that the Bloodline are back, I'd have thought it'd have made sense for him to have some sort of involvement with that. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's just my opinion. You know, I've been following Zilla Fatu for several years now. I sort of first got to know him through Booker T's reality wrestling based out of Texas. You know, I'm a big fan of the Row, and yeah, you know, I think he's great, absolutely fantastic. You know,
yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he gets on in NXT. He's put straight into the main event, straight into the title picture in NXT, the world title picture, of course, that is. But this week on Raw, and this is kind of where I thought we were going to see him, unless they're pulling the wool over our eyes, like he debuted on NXT, everyone thinks he's going there, and then this happens. Because what happened on Raw last week was Solo Sikoa lost the match against Jey Uso, meaning Jey Uso is going to deliver Solo Sikoa to the tribal chief Roman Reigns tonight in a few hours. That isn't going to happen, surely. There has got to be something that goes down that prevents. Maybe Jacob Fatu does something to prevent it. Solo Sikoa isn't going back to the bloodline tonight.
I don't think he is.
No.
You know, because again, like, I can't get behind. I don't know about you, but I can't get behind. Like, I'm sorry, but I can't get behind a babyface Solo Sikoa. I just can't. You know, and you know, because you know, it's just like, you know, like, because he's done so well as a heel. You know, it's impossible to actually like the bloke, and like, I can't see him going back to a babyface thing because all that with LA Knight was just like, what the fuck, and then it, you know, and it's always, where does that benefit him going back to the bloodline who are technically babyface in the minute, and you know he's from here to there to the other, and it's just so many nooks and crannies, and it's like, what, you know. But honestly, I can't see it, you know. But again, as you said, are they going to pull? Are they doing like the wool over our eyes and just are they going to use him on both Zilla Fatu? Do you reckon have him push for the NXT title on behalf of the Bloodline, and
Yeah,
then bring him in to Raw tonight to have him take Solo Sikoa?
maybe they could
Do you
do
know
that.
what I mean?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
because let's not forget, Solo for a while when he first went onto the main roster was doing both NXT
yeah,
and thingy. Because if I remember rightly, didn't he have to vacate the North American title because of how much he was on the main roster?
yeah. He did. Yeah.
And yeah, because that was the segment that he did with Shawn Michaels, if
Mhm.
I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
And it was because of the whole him being on the main roster too
yeah,
often. Why? Yeah. So again, they've already done it once. So what's going to make them not do it again? Do you know what I mean?
yeah. We'll find out. We'll have some
So,
more inklings tonight. We'll have some more inklings tonight as to what's going to happen. One of the things I was going to try and talk to you about last week before it sounded like I got dropped in the Thames was the return to WWE of Big Cass. Now, over the last couple of weeks, Big Cass has come back to WWE. He's taken out Javon Evans. He took out Javon Evans and Dragon Lee last week. I I've sort of, I kind of just went meh. Like there was nothing really that stood out to me. He's not uttered a word since he's back. Is he missing? Does he need that mouthpiece like Enzo with him?
See, I remember when they first debuted in
Mhm.
NXT, Enzo and
Yeah.
Cass, because I remember they even had, was it Alexa Bliss with them, or was it
Uh,
um
I think it was originally Alexa and it moved to Carmella, didn't it?
that was it? Yeah, yeah. Like I remember all that, and well with both of them, Enzo and Cass, I've always said meh. Do you know what I mean? Like to me, they're just there. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Cass being back, he's just there. When he was released from WWE and, obviously had to go through rehab and what have you, and then later on went into TNA as W. Morrissey,
Mhm.
obviously back to like well, that name and obviously into AEW. He was just there, and I was never the biggest fan of Enzo Amore either.
No.
Personally, because it was just the same promo every week. My name is Enzo Amore and I am a certified G. This is big effing cast, blah, blah, blah. And he's 7 foot tall and you can't teach that sort of shit. And, it was just the same shit, different week. And I just found it very boring very, very quickly. And and no disrespect to Cass, but obviously it's no fault of his own. But I think that his height, I do think is his biggest worst enemy to how he wrestles, and it was exactly the same with the Great Khali. Like I think the size of them were what killed them. Do you know what I mean? And obviously through no fault of their own. Do you know what I mean? But I think that's what like I was never a fan of the Great Khali's in ring capabilities. I've not been a fan of Cassie's in ring capabilities because of the fact of how because of just their height, really. Do you know what
Mhm.
I mean? That's my honest opinions and what have you. And you know, as far as I'm concerned, whatever happens with Cass now he's back happens. Whatever happens, happens. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, we'll find out.
So
Find out if Enzo does eventually join him. Who knows? They could be building up to something. We don't know, but we'll
yeah,
find out. Right, let's move on. AEW. We'll come back to WWE, of course, at the end. We've got a couple of more bits to
yes.
talk about for WWE at the end there.
Oh, it's
AEW
getting closer, Adam. I can't wait.
next Sunday. We're all
It
we'll have to try and
is.
meet. We'll have to try and meet up. Actually, I'm there.
Yeah.
We'll have to try and sort it out. I'm meeting up with a few other podcasters and stuff like that. So yeah. Anyway, side note. But anyway, look, all in next Sunday, of course. Now, there could be well, we could be experiencing a new day at All In. Now, last week on Dynamite, Swerve Strickland returned against three of his enemies, right? Against Bandito, Brody King, Adam Page. And he was then confronted with a demand as well, who want the Trios Championships. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, as they're called, have got the Trios Championships. Swerve seems to kind of be in the middle here. But could we see a triple threat triple threat trios tag match with the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly versus Demand versus Swerve and the New Day at All In?
Funny we should mention this. I was literally just speaking about this with Graham Matthews, who is one of Bleacher Report's top writers and has been since 2010. And he is very much in the mindset of the New Day are going to AEW
Yeah.
and teaming with Swerve to see that taking place. Now, obviously, I don't know whether or not you're aware, but Kofi Kingston has trademarked
Yep.
his own personal ring name,
Yep.
right? So again, could this just be for the benefactor of him when he comes back to the business,
Hmm.
him using that name, or could it specifically be for the benefit of AEW?
Hmm.
I'd imagine Xavier Woods will go back to Austin Creed, was it
Yep.
beforehand?
Austin Creed. Yep. Yep.
Um,
Yep.
because obviously he was the TNA tag team champions with Jay Lethal
Yes.
way back when, if I'm not mistaken, and had the whole thing with him, and I'm saying yes, we are seeing New Day turn up out of nowhere to, well, I think it'll play out one of two ways. We'll
Hmm.
see them come in with Swerve. Obviously, Swerve will come out,
Hmm.
being out today. He's found two tag team partners to take place in this match,
Yeah.
the trios tag match, and what have you. Because as it stands, it's not an official match yet.
No.
Like as it stands, obviously we still have this week's Collision and Dynamite, and obviously next week as well, to go forth. Um, but I think that if and when that match does get announced, Swerve will have to find two tag team partners, and he's got to leave it till the day of, till the entrance, and then
Yep.
next thing you know, Arena goes silent, and then it's the New Day. Obviously, the crowd will lose their shit.
Yep.
That's the easiest way I can think for them to come in. Or we've got the tag match between the Young Bucks
Cope
and
and Christian.
yeah, Cope and Christian. Could could they then potentially come out with that instead?
Yeah.
And after that match, could lights go out sort of thing, and then they then get like a video package plays, and then it's them. They then come down to the ring, stare the winners down in the face, and what have you, and we see the New Day versus the Young Bucks, or the New Day versus Cope and Christian. But I think the logical way forward is to have them with Swerve.
Yeah, I think so. It'd be like a new Mogul embassy, wouldn't it? Because that's what Tara Leo was saying. Like,
Yeah,
you should have been on a Mo. We'll find out. I mean, hopefully we'll have some new, better. We'll have a better indication next Monday because obviously we got the Dynamite Collision. We've also got the next week's in Glasgow as well, ahead of All In,
yeah,
of course.
yeah.
But 39,155 tickets have been distributed as of about 2 hours ago. So going to be hitting the 40,000 seater mark Wembley in a couple of weeks.
Basically, that's less than half. Obviously they have to take away a section of it for like the stage and everything.
Yeah.
But even still, they'll surely replace what they're having to take away in the actual stands with the floor seats. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And even still, Wembley's a 90,000 capacity. You
Yeah.
know, it's like, it's you know, a week this Sunday. Well, 2 weeks yesterday, and not 40,000 tickets have been sold. That's less than half, Adam. Do you know
Mm.
what I mean? And but I don't like to shit on companies for having shit ticket sales, but when you sell out, when you do things in arenas and stadiums of that sort of size, you would want to sell it out as best as possible. Considering you look at the first All In that they had there,
Mhm.
amazing attendance figures. Do you know what I mean? And what have you to this one? It's just like, what's going on here? Do you know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah, we'll have a look at that. We'll see what happens. I mean, yeah, it's not looking good. I mean, SummerSlam's one as well. If you looked at the one opposite,
Yeah,
was
SummerSlam,
shocking, wasn't it?
exactly,
Was shocking
exactly.
as well. So it's going to be
Yeah,
interesting. Well, look, we'll be there though. We'll be there. We'll be a part of that. We'll be a part of that 40 odd thousand that will be there for
yeah.
sure. Another company on the lookout for talent is TNA, more specifically, Knockout talent. So the female, it has been decimated. I mean, they lost a lot. But Danny Luna was one that they lost. Lots of them have requested their release, which is a bit worrying. They've got a tag division with really only two teams in the Knockouts tag division in there. So it makes sense that Knockouts were going to be on the horizon. If you had to select a couple of British women to go into that division, who would be your, say, top three or four that you would go for?
So I've had the pleasure of sharing the ring and refereeing Harley Hudson.
Yeah,
And it was literally within the month of me refereeing her where she won the TNA Cup
gotcha.
check
Hmm.
3 year ago now.
Hmm.
And you know, um, so I would like to see her permanently in TNA, and what have you, because I know that she has been sort of like back and forth with TNA, but not a permanent sort of figure on there.
She
Do
has
you
been
know
on
what I
there
mean?
quite a lot. Yeah, I mean this week for argument this week on TNA she has Alicia Edwards, and if she loses, she's fired.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Exactly. And it's like, like they're struggling for talent as it is, so why would they want to get rid of her? Do you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
what have you? You know, um, so I'd certainly keep her in and what have you. Um, who else? Um, I'd probably say as and when she comes back to wrestling, Millie McKenzie.
Yeah,
Um,
brilliant.
I've also had the pleasure of refereeing her a couple of times.
Hmm.
I know she's currently out of action at the minute
Yeah,
because she's got like a few like my health
yeah.
things going on. Bless her.
Hmm.
Honestly, Millie is a sweetheart and what
Yeah.
have you. She's such a lovely woman. And what have you. And again, I've had the pleasure of sharing the ring with her. Obviously, Defiant,
Hmm.
WWE as well.
Yeah.
And what have you. And she's realistically not that much older than me,
Yeah.
really. So she could easily go to TNA. I think no issues at all. Um, trying to think. Rio over here,
Yeah.
from Progressive,
Mhm.
etc. Like, I think that she can go there. Um, sure, trying to think who else. Obviously we've got Kaylee Ray coming back over here.
Yeah.
Do you reckon that she could fit in to
Hmm.
TNA anywhere? Nikki Cross as well. Obviously they've been released by WWE,
Yeah.
and obviously their partnership with TNA, but
Yeah.
even still, they're their own separate entity, and what have you. But you know, uh, sort of trying to think. Like it's a tough one because again, like the British scene is stacked
Yeah.
at the minute, absolutely stacked full of, I think some of the best wrestlers that you can find, you know, and yeah, so I think Rio, Millie McKenzie,
Yeah.
and oh, I don't know, I'll have to come back to that because yeah. Um, yeah,
We'll let you come out. So I'm gonna
yeah,
agree on Rio. That's
yeah.
one. L.A. Taylor,
L.A. Taylor, yes, yeah,
Demolition Woman, is definitely on that list. I'm gonna say Violet Knight, who's a young
yes,
up and coming. She's very wrestled everywhere in Europe, and she's been absolutely tremendous. And then from a because she's such a great character as well as a wrestler, I'm gonna say Alexis Falcon.
yes, yes, yeah. I think was it Alexis Falcon and L.A. Taylor that I saw wrestle? So I
Maybe.
remember when World of Sport came back in
Hmm.
2024 for the tapers that they did in Norwich that never materialised. I think it was it Alex Windsor or was it Alexis Falcon who
Might have been
wrestled?
Alex Windsor, but
Yeah, I think it was Windsor, and she wrestled against LA Taylor.
mm.
And the match they had was absolutely insane, like incredible. Um, I think one who I would like to see, Nightshade as well.
Oh yes,
I think she's great. Um,
hyperactive for the tag division,
yes,
and they can work
yes,
singles.
100%, yes, yeah.
There we go. So there we
So
go. There you go, Carlos
yeah,
Silva. Get your wallet out, son, and start
yes,
get some more British
yeah,
talent over here.
yes.
So that's TNA. I mean, quite a lot. Obviously, lockdown this weekend. Every match inside a steel cage. First lockdown since 2016 when it was over here in London. That was the last TNA lockdown. They was meant to do it in 2020, something, but COVID struck and they couldn't do it. So, well, we're
Mm,
looking forward to seeing lockdown this weekend. Right, back to the Fed and kind of the two big feuds on SmackDown at the minute. Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton is something that really doesn't need any storyline. It's already got one. They keep having a war of words. Cody Rhodes don't quite get his hands on it. It's now been confirmed. Saturday night's main event. Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton in um, Cody Rhodes' hometown of Atlanta, Georgia. Do you see Randy Orton picking up the victory in this? And is Saturday night's main event too small of a show to have Cody and Randy one on one?
I agree that it's too small of a show. Um, but then again, like you look at the prestige of the name of Saturday Night's main event, literally the biggest names of the WWE have all wrestled on Saturday Night's main event. Back in all the 80s and 90s, etc. Um, obviously Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton are today's who you'd expect to be like today's Hulk Hogan's, today's Ultimate Warriors, etc., and what have you. So I can understand why they're doing that. Do you know what I mean? Because again, like the lineage of that show, but you know, ugh, I was expecting, I wasn't expecting this to take place so soon after SummerSlam because I was kind of half expecting us to get a heel Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam,
Mm.
like as we discussed a couple of
Yeah.
weeks back going into SummerSlam, um, and yeah, but yeah, I don't know. Do they should they have left it to like Money in the Bank or something like that?
Well, that's not
Do you
until
know what I mean?
October.
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly, exactly. I mean, have we got a pay per view between now and Money in the Bank?
Don't think we do. I think we have a Saturday night's main event. I think that's it.
Oh, wow. So, so I suppose, like in that aspect, I can sort of understand why they're doing it because like,
Yeah.
if they haven't got anything till Money in the Bank, you know what I mean, and sort of save doing it on a like an episode of SmackDown or like whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
So yeah. See again, like they have got that history together. So like again, fully understand why they're doing it. But Saturday night's main event out of all shows, meh. Do you know what I mean? You
Mm.
know.
Well, looks like that's the case. So we're going to have to wait and see. But yeah, I mean,
Mm.
that's a big. I mean, I suppose that is a. Well, it's unlike WWE not trying to con more money out of us for pay-per-views, is it? monthly one. Anyway, Saturday night's main event. It will be where Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton face off. It's a shame Dusty weren't alive. They could have done a Dusty Bob Orton thing, couldn't they? As well.
Yeah.
But announced on Raw tonight, before we move on to the final subject, announced for Raw tonight, the tournament continues to see who takes on Roman Reigns, the winner of the Triple R tournament. Ray Phoenix against El Fiscal. Fuck knows who that is. In there. Dragon Lee versus El Hido D. Dr. Wagner Jr. Fucking hell,
Yes, El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. I've been following him for many years. He's a former Pro Wrestling Noah GHC heavyweight and national heavyweight champion. He's obviously the son, unless the junior part gives it away. He's the
yes.
son of the legendary masked luchador,
Mhm.
Hijo del Dr. Wagner. Again, absolutely iconic luchador from the world of Lucha Libre. Wagner Jr. I think is on that sort of precipice of getting there
Mhm.
to follow like his father's legacy. He was I know that he was on main roster WWE quite a while back now.
Mhm.
And again, I popped like fuck, like when he was wrestling, because I loved him in Noah. Some of the matches he had against like Kaito Kiyomiya, Jake Lee, Keno, etc., Naomichi Marufuji. I just thought some of the best matches you'd see. Honestly, such good matches. And then out in Mexico, like as well, like in Triple A, again, just fantastic matches he was having there. Do you know what I mean? So I can guarantee you now he's not going to disappoint, and I genuinely do hope it's him that wins this tournament because I genuinely do think that out of the people who are currently left in this tournament, Wagner Jr., Hijo del Doctor Wagner Jr. is the best person to have the best possible match with Roman Reigns. And I can assure everybody watching this podcast, if you don't know who Hijo del Doctor Wagner Jr. is, right, to just go watch any of his matches previously, and you'd understand why I think that he's the best option to face Roman Reigns. Because that potential match that he can have with Roman is going to be chef's kiss. Honestly, going to be absolutely incredible. I genuinely do think it's got to be so good.
Well, there we go. We may see it. Penta's the favourite, obviously, for every other
Yes.
reason, for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But that would be interesting if they went down that route. Lyra Valkyria Sol Ruka, obviously, like I mentioned, Jey Uso, like we discussed, will deliver solo to Kota Roman Reigns and Chad Gable, whose Baywatch theme song is growing on me. Will face Rey Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship tonight on Raw, so that should be a good one. Right, final subject, just a quick side note. Congratulations to Jay White, expecting your first child. That's why he was off for so long. That's we know why he was doing, didn't we? Anyway, right. Last subject, KO and Punk as having a promo wars. But do you know what? Every time I see these two, it just brings me back to Dynamite with Eddie Kingston. And it got
Yes.
me thinking today that like Kevin Owens is pretty much WWE's Eddie Kingston.
They are very similar, aren't they?
Yeah.
Very, very similar. Like they're polar opposites, but they're very similar at the
Mm.
exact same time. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? They obviously had, mate, I don't know what it is, but I very much think that they are very similar. You know, um, like again, I've been following Kingston since the old,
Mhm.
like Dragon Gate and Chikara days for him, and Kevin Owens since his old like Kevin Steen days with like Ring of Honor. Obviously going back to when Sammy was El Generico,
Mhm.
etc. Do you know what I mean? And like they're very similar, but I think they're very polar opposites at the same time. But at the same time, thinking they're very similar. And again, like it does sort of like I I actually thought that myself, reminiscing the whole thing with Kingston with Punk when they were feuding there. So yeah,
Does Kevin Owens beat CM Punk? I think it's this week on SmackDown. Does he get the job done?
I can't lie. I'm very much looking forward to that match. Don't know about you, but I'm very much looking forward to it. As I think it will be a pretty decent match. personally. Granted, Owens has only been back all of 2 minutes, but like I think that I don't think Kevin's going over
Okay.
because like I think Punk will definitely be retaining because let's face it, they had Sammy hold it for all of 9 days. Punk ain't exactly held it that long, like himself. Um, why would they then have two transitional champions, like what we considered two transitional champions, one after the other, to go from Cody to Sammy, from Sammy to Punk, Punk to KO, all within the space of what, a month, 2 months, if that?
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? So as much as I'd like Kevin to go over, I don't think he will. Do you know what I mean? But either way, my honest opinion, I think it will be a pretty decent match.
Oh, it'd be a great
Uh,
match. It'd be a great match. I just think there's a nice, there might even be a bit of backstage heat between the two, and that's always a little bit better when
oh
there's
yeah, yeah.
that.
I genuinely think Sammy is getting involved.
Oh,
Do
do
you
you
know
think
what I
so?
mean? And yeah, because again, like we've obviously seen, backstage stuff between Kevin and Sammy and what have you, since SummerSlam and what have you, and Sammy not being happy the fact that how he, was put into the match and what have you, and all that. But then where does do we see Finn come back into the mix at any point? Because again, he was no disrespect to Kevin Owens. I'm happy that he's back and I'm happy he won. But they just shat on Finn Balor during the match at SummerSlam. He was very much forgotten about. Do you know what I mean? And so know, where does he fit into everything? And what have you? Where does Sammy fit into everything? Where does Gunther fit into
Mhm.
everything? Because, again, I get that Gunther still has all this stuff with Nick Aldis, as we've obviously seen this past Friday with the whole
Yep.
Chelsea Green situation and what have you. But, where do all these other people come into fruition? Do you know what I mean? Because their claim to the championship still hasn't, it's still not in like the rear view mirror. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly that. Lots and lots going on in the world of wrestling this week. We can't wait to see what's going on. We'll have lockdown. We'll have everything to discuss next week. But I'm going to let you go because you've got a Nerdic Pro stuff going on. It's, as you say, it's the 250th consecutive week of the Nerdic Pro Weekly stuff going on all week long.
this
So
week, yes.
yes, this week, yes.
It's insane. Yeah. So what am I even doing this week? I've got
I don't
Evan
know.
Ginsberg coming back on. He was the associate producer to the two-time Oscar-nominated film and the Golden Globe winning film, The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke. He won the Golden Globe for the best actor in the world, courtesy of that film, and the associate producer for 350 Days. Luke Roberts from the St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame, Russ Jackman, Adam Cousins, and yeah, I'm reviewing Pro Wrestling Noah shows, reviewing retro SummerSlams, reviewing retro AWA shows, Pro Wrestling Noah. What am I not doing? As we've said, I'm a town councillor now. I've got a meeting tomorrow afternoon. I've got borough council meetings on Wednesday, and with other councillors and with members of the public. Mate, I don't fucking stop. I've just done another podcast with Graham Matthews from Bleacher Report. Do you know what I mean? 251 weeks this week, Adam, of
Yep.
like consecutive weeks of like Nerding Pro Weekly. And how I've not, how I've kept my sanity, I don't know. 450, 460 upwards podcasts, like as well. How I'm still sane, I don't know. Like, I made a return to the ring on Saturday for DOA.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, mate, how? But there we are.
It's fantastic. It's good news. Go and check out the Nordic Pro podcast as well. We'll be seeing you back next Monday. Coming up this week, I'll be in
You
the
certainly
booth.
shall.
Yes, indeed. Make sure you do. Coming up this week, I'll be in the booth with Mike Mondo, who recently lost his national championship, so he's going to be fucking pissed off.
The Brian
Last
Idol, if I'm not
Yes,
mistaken.
to Brian Idol. Yeah, indeed he is.
Yeah.
Coming on the channel. Well, actually available to watch on the channel tomorrow. Richard Adonis from the NWA, available to watch on Thursday. TNA's Mr. Elegance ahead of lockdown. And a big thank you to all of you guys. 3 million views on Facebook in the last 28 days is
Oh, wow, that's insane.
that is insane. Yeah, fuck knows why. But anyway, big thanks to you all. Big thanks to Bobby, of course. We'll let him go. We'll see you all next week on Hitting the Tech Buckle podcast. Well, see you actually tomorrow for those of you. But until next time, everybody, buckle down, stay safe. Goodbye.